Now, this vehicle looks so good, you might confuse it for a BMW or an Audi, but it's not. It's not even a luxury car. This is, in fact, the 2018 Honda Accord. And unlike luxury vehicles, Honda doesn't nickel and dime you for every single feature. This one has a 10-speed automatic transmission. It has a large digital touchscreen display. It even has a heads-up display. The engine is the maximum 2-liter turbo, which we'll talk about later. It also has full leather trim, active safety, you name it. It even has an espresso coffee maker. Look, the logo's right there. Wait. What? No. Oh, okay. I guess I'm being informed that is not an espresso coffee logo.
It actually stands for NFC, or Near Field Communications. In this case, we can transfer an image. It's a neat way to customize the vehicle to your liking. Does it open doors to more features in the future? We'll have to wait and see.
This 2-liter turbo model is priced as tested $36,690, including destination. For that much money, you can barely get into a BMW or an Audi. Heck, even a Camry costs more. So, is it worth it? Let's find out. As I mentioned before, Honda has replaced the top-end engine option of a V6 with this new 2-liter turbo that they borrowed out of the Civic Type R. Now in the Civic, it has 306 horsepower. Here, it's been detuned a little. You're looking at 252 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. They've connected it to a 10-speed automatic transmission. You can get a manual, but not in touring trim. We'll talk more about that later. EPA rates this setup at 22 miles to the gallon in town and 32 on the highway. The main reason to pick a mid-size sedan like the Accord is for what's back here, legroom. You can actually fit a full-size adult, no problems. It's the reason why somebody picks a Camry over a Corolla, or an Altima over a Sentra, or, in this case, an Accord over a Civic. I also have heated seats in the second row here, which is nice. I have an armrest with cup holders, and I even get my own vents. Although all I can do is turn them on or off. It's not that fancy, but it's nice. Much like the newest Toyota Camry and even the Mazda 6 Signature Edition that we drove recently, Honda has really upped the bar on interior quality. You got some nice lush wood trim here. The plastics are all fairly high quality, and we get this lovely 8-inch touchscreen display front and center. The neat thing about this is it includes the latest version of Honda's infotainment system. It has navigation, phone, trip settings, Sirius XM, but best of all, it actually comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard equipment. Mazda 6 can't even get it yet. Toyota, not even on their roadmap so far as we know. If you want a midsize and you want CarPlay and Android Auto with a nice 8-inch display, you're looking at the Honda Accord. And it's not just the big things in this car, it's also the little things that are so cool. Like down here, I have my little aircon controls. When I dial them to the right, they feel great first off, but they also illuminate based on the direction that I'm turning them. If I turn right for more heat, they turn pink and then red. If I turn them left, they turn blue. If I just move them one click, they don't really light up much. But it's little details like that that make this just not your everyday boring sedan. It makes every little thing kind of exciting. It's like, ooh, I want to play with this gauge because I think that's really cool. And it fans and all this stuff, it's all really just nicely done. Now, I was talking about Apple CarPlay. We have a nice little bin down here that actually will charge a phone that is compatible. I have a USB right above it. And I'm going to go ahead and plug in my iPhone. There we go. Stick the whole thing down there. It hides very nicely. And now we have Apple CarPlay up here, which I can use for navigation, audio, all the stuff that you would expect. And unlike previous attempts at a futuristic infotainment system, Honda got smart and they put buttons and dials back onto the control system, which I think is really important. You want a volume. How hard is it to put a volume button on it? Just put the volume button on, and they do. If you remember earlier versions of this system, didn't actually have a physical switch. So nice to have that back. Can't be understated enough. Up here in the most important part of the driver's view, it is a delight. On top, we have a heads-up display that I can change between multiple views, showing me my lane keep info, maps, a big old tack, which is awesome. Down below, we have what looks like traditional gauges, but it's a trick. On the left, it's actually a multi-function display that I can change between various settings. I can be a tack, it can be speedo, it can be audio, navigation, whatever I want. It can even be traffic signs, which is kind of nifty. If I select tack, then I get a big tack on the left and a big speedo on the right. Now you're saying this is a 2-liter turbo. Where's the boost gauge? Aha, just hit the sport button. It shows me that my adaptive dampers have been engaged and I get the boost gauge that I wanted right there on the right. It really is a nicely thought out system so that somebody that wants to drive more aggressively, is into that kind of driving dynamics and they want that feedback from their display, can get that. Yet, if somebody's just driving to and from school to pick up the kids, you can have all the safety stuff on. I mean, it really is a nice do anything for everyone kind of a car. On the steering wheel, it is nicely set up with buttons that are tightly designed into the steering wheel. You don't end up with all these tack-on buttons that like Subaru does, where they like stick them on the sides and you end up spinning the wheel and trying not to hit buttons. This one, they're all nicely aligned right here. We have adaptive cruise control, we have lane detection, all of the safety equipment that you would expect in a modern vehicle, and we even get paddle shifters. If you want to stick shift, you have to go down to the Sport model, which doesn't have things like, the leather seats and it doesn't have the sunroof, but you can get it with the 2-liter turbo engine as an option. So if you get the Sport with the 2-liter turbo and a 6-speed manual transmission, you are looking at about $30,000 for probably one of the quickest sports sedans you can buy south of $50,000. So we've kicked the tires, we've looked at the features, we've poked at the engine. Let's see how this thing actually drives. Oh, and of course, it's a Honda, so they have their little PRND buttons here instead of a shifter, which actually I've kind of gotten to like this. I've just turned onto a road that was actually built in 1913. This is a stretch of about a mile in Redmond, Washington, and it is all made of brick. It was a collection of brick roads located throughout the country that were connected by imaginary dotted lines. And I have the car in sport mode. To say I'm getting shaken is a bit of an understatement. This is extraordinarily rough. Really, really rough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the car into Econ mode, which smooths out the dampers. It's really not that bad. I mean, I can still feel the bricks. The bricks are still jarring, but they're not going to knock my teeth out anymore. They're actually tolerable. So test that again. Sport and standard. It's noticeable. Now, on something like an S-Class, it would be like night and day. On a car like this, it's going to be a little more subtle because it's not changing the springs. It's just changing the dampening, the amount of absorption of the heavy knocks. Now let's go ahead and try a 0 to 60. I'm going to go ahead and put the car into sport mode. I'm going to turn down this long, straight farm road. Come to a stop. Okay, so car's in sport mode, it's in automatic for shifting, and I'm just going to punch the gas pedal. Now I want to point out our 0 to 60 times are always a little bit slower because we start counting when the foot hits the floor. A lot of the big magazines, they won't even count the start until the vehicle gets up to 5 miles per hour or it starts rolling. We don't do any of those shenanigans. We do a proper foot to the floor, or an FTF, if we want to call it that, 0 to 60. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. 10, 20, ooh, that turbo kicks in, wheel spin, and 50, and 60. Woo! That was surprisingly dramatic for a family 4-door sedan. I really like this new motor. Now, it's interesting to note that the original big engine option in this vehicle was a V6, and the V6 had excellent performance, but it wasn't so great with economy. This new vehicle improves economy, but also gives a more dynamic driving performance. It is a more modern take on the Accord, and I love it. All Sport Mode really does is it remaps the throttle and also tightens up those adaptive shocks. It doesn't give you more horsepower. The horsepower is what the horsepower is. That's unaffected. So it's not going to really be much of a difference between Eco and Sport in terms of 0 to 60 times. It's interesting to note also that Car and Driver tested the 0 to 60 of the V6 versus the 2-liter, and they were basically identical. So I think overall, this new 2-liter engine is a win for the Accord. Once on the open highway, I love a feature called Adaptive Cruise Control. What it does is it paces the vehicle in front of me using radar. To use it, all I have to do is click Main, Set my target speed. It's currently 55 here, so I'll go ahead and set my target speed as 60 for sake of demonstration. And as I approach the car in front of me, the Accord will pace it. It'll match its speed with a set distance. It shows that we're closing in now, 35 yards, 32 yards, 30 yards, 29, 28, 27. And here it will hold because I've set that distance. Now, if I want to increase my distance, I just toggle this. The car will slow down. And now we've gone 28, 29, 30, 31. We're now at 31 yards. It's a really great way of driving long distances without tiring yourself out. You don't have to worry about your speed at all. If that guy comes to a complete stop, the Accord will come to a complete stop. It's really, really nice for long trips. And better still, it doesn't just drive itself this way, it also drives itself this way because this one has lane detection. All I do is hit this other button, and now it's detecting the lanes around us and actually steering itself. Now, it's not a full autopilot, so it won't do it forever. It'll do it for about 10 to 15 seconds, at which point it will tell me, put your hands on the steering wheel. There, steering required. So now I'll go put my hands back on it, and now I can do this again. Now, you don't want to do it hands-free. That's not the point of this system. What it does is it makes it so you don't have to constantly do those little inputs on long trips that really wear you out. And I'm not talking about cross town, I'm talking across a state. So it really makes interstate travel so much more relaxing. Also, if you happen to get really tired and you start weaving a lot, it'll use the same system to detect and suggest for you to pull over and take a nap. So it's a combination of both convenience and safety. And I think it's really great, actually. One of the neat things is that whether you buy the number 1 midsize sedan, the Toyota Camry, or you buy the number 2, the Honda Accord, you're still going to get a similar system because they are now standard on both vehicles, which I think is great. It should help cut down on accidents. So I'm looking forward to seeing the data on this in 5 to 10 years to see really what kind of an effect it has. Or are people just going to pay attention less and crash even more? It'll be interesting to see.
Can I just point out, we're in traffic. We're sitting here. There's nobody nearby other than cars that are parked. And it keeps that annoying alarm telling us that something is approaching. And it's not. I don't know if something's stuck to the sensors on both sides or what. But sometimes technology can be really annoying.
Now that I've had the chance to drive the Mazda 6 Signature, the new Toyota Camry, and then this, the Honda Accord, I have to say that the Accord is the best balance of style and substance. The new 2-liter turbo engine provides a lot of gusto, and it is fun to drive. At the same time, it's eminently practical. I can put full-size adults in the back, lots of comfortable positions. Heck, I got a 12-position driver's seat here. 12! This Touring Edition really loads on the features at a price that is actually pretty reasonable. I mean, at $35,000 and change, you get a lot of car here. You get a 2-liter turbo engine, that 10-speed automatic that shifts on a dime. You also get, of course, Apple CarPlay. It really is a modern, fun, enjoyable, good-looking car that is ready for the family or just somebody who enjoys driving and has a lot of friends. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. This has been my first look at the 2018 Honda Accord with the new 2-liter turbo. Be sure to subscribe for our channel and also give us a thumbs up and tell us what you think in the comments below.